What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media tonight. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I am here with Dan Loya. Dan, Monday Night Football is officially over. Week 8 is officially over. We are at the halfway point of the NFL season, and everything is starting to take shape. We know which teams are good. We know which teams aren't. And obviously, the Commanders had a tall task going into this one. I was impressed with how Marcus Mariota played majority of this game. And obviously, when they got down towards the second half, can't necessarily blame him. He played a great game. Uh, Dan Quinn had a great defensive game plan in the first half. That unit came out strong. And then, the Chiefs just found ways to take over in the second half, and they were executing at a high level. What were your thoughts on tonight's action?
Yeah, I'm glad you took it over. Yeah, I wanted to get your perspective because I see your shirt. You're wearing some red tonight for the big occasion, the big win, the big game on Monday Night Football. I see you wearing Chief stuff. Uh, but
Gotta
yeah,
wear it.
it. But it's kind of similar to last night. Just like with the Packers game, the Packers Steelers game on Sunday night. The Packers came out looking like a completely different team in the second half, and you say that about the Chiefs tonight. They had the ball on 4 possessions in the second half. They scored on 3 of those, and they finally punted the ball when they were up 28-7 to end the game. So I thought that offense finally started clicking in the second half. Mahomes was doing magic. They went for it on that big fourth down to get the spark going. Threw it to Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt had a nice game, but I think I guess my main takeaway for the Chiefs offense is whenever they needed a spark, they looked to their favorite weapon, and it's always 87. It's Travis Kelce. He got them going as well. He had a huge gain. It was I got it here. It was like a broken play. It's 38-yard gain, whenever that was. But he was blocking, and he just got open. No one was covering him, and then that's just he knows how to make plays. Whenever like any team plays zone, if you notice, he always finds the holes in that zone. He's always reliable for Patrick Mahomes, and he was a big spark plug tonight. And all the tight ends this weekend. It was a big week for tight ends for National
National
Tight
Tight
Ends
End Day.
Day, and Kelsey added to it.
Yeah. And I thought the interesting part of this one is in the first half, the Commanders did a great job. They were dropping guys into coverage, plenty of guys out there. Mahomes had nobody to throw to. The offensive line, I think the biggest thing they struggled with in the first half was missing Trey Smith. Mike Caliendo was not playing very well in the first half, and he was relying a lot on guys around him to help him out, and he was getting beat by the defensive line. He allowed a few pressures in that first half, was struggling in the running game, and it felt like, guys weren't getting open. Chiefs offense, Mahomes, Marshawn Lattimore made a great play, turned back the clock. Incredible play by him. And then Kelce throws the ball to the defense for the second time this year. And it just felt like the Chiefs
Huh.
just kept finding ways to shoot themselves in the foot in the first half. And once they finally were able to get some momentum and get some drives together, their talent just took over. Mahomes was unbelievable tonight, except for that throw to Lattimore. Besides that, he basically played a perfect game with what he had available. Rashee Rice didn't get going until later in the second half, but he was basically the closer in this game. And Travis Kelce, credit to him. I mean, he stepped up after that big time, interception that he caused and had a really nice game after that. And, what's interesting about the Chiefs is while a lot of people will talk about these pass catchers are healthy and, it definitely helps out a lot. It's the running game. It's running under center. It's these draws. It's these power plays and these concepts that the Chiefs are running. And Pacheco and Kareem Hunt have been doing very well over the past few weeks. And it's opened some more things up for this offense. And when they get rolling like they do the second half, like 3 straight touchdown drives after a tie game, that's where the Chiefs get you. And it wasn't necessarily like chunk play, chunk play, chunk play. It's methodical. They have the chunk plays with them this year. They're a really tough offense to stop right now. And the biggest thing is they also have a very good defense with them. And the Chiefs defense is interesting because they're not super flashy by any means. They're just really fundamentally sound. They probably have one of the worst front 4 pass rushes in football, but Steve Spagnuolo knows how to time up blitzes very well in the second half. They have one of the best tackling and disciplined secondaries in the NFL. Their linebackers always seem to make plays when they need them to, and then they always find a way towards the end of the game with one defender coming out free and makes a big time stop. It feels like in the first half, the Chiefs defense learns more about your game plan, and then in the second half, they're very well prepared. And, that was the thing with the Commanders is they were moving the ball so well in the first half. The Chiefs couldn't get off the field. Mariota, and credit to Cliff Kingsbury, the RPO game plan worked incredibly well. There were guys open. The running game was moving just fine, and Mariota looked very good and comfortable with the game plan they provided. But in the second half, that's where the experience and the fundamentals of the Chiefs took over. And once they got a touchdown and a stop, it really felt like the game was out of reach.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I thought Kingsbury had a great game plan to start. Mariota was playing really well. He was running around a lot, and that's just what he does. He's been in the league for I think 10 years now. It's amazing that he could still do it. He's still kind of quick. He's not as quick, obviously, as he used to be, but he can still outrun some guys for a little bit, and it works. It works till the team gets a 2 touchdown lead, and then all your trick plays
Yeah,
are
then,
done,
then it
and
doesn't really work.
yeah, and then they figure you out. I mean, that's why he's a backup. So, yeah, the Chiefs played well in the second half, and I thought they were sleepwalking. They were playing with their food a
They
little bit
were.
in the first half, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to tell Ryan here they were overlooking this team for Buffalo.
I thought that.
I
I
had
thought
it.
about that
I
too.
had it. I was
I
like,
thought
oh
about it
man,
after our
they're gonna show
conversation,
out.
and I was thinking, I'm like, you know what it kind of is too, is like they talked about pregame. Dan Quinn had of like coming to Jesus moment with this team before this game. Like they
Oh, they said
redid
that.
everything. You heard the entire broadcast saying that. I'm like, yeah,
Oh, they
like
gotta
this
hype
team's
it up.
coming out fired up. They know their playoffs. They know their season is basically on the line with this game, like 3-5 climbing out. And we'll talk about it in a little bit. They have a tough road ahead. And then the Chiefs
Yeah,
just came off a game against the Raiders where they pulled their starters in the third quarter. It kind of felt like it was bound to be, this way. And it probably was a good bet to bet Commanders, first half spread. But once, the chips settled in, the Chiefs kind of calmed down. They
yeah,
played
they woke up.
fundamentally sound football.
Yeah,
It wasn't really a competitive game. And that's the interesting part about this Chiefs team. And I know their record's 5-3. It's not as flashy as it was record wise last year, but this Chiefs team actually feels like it has a dominance to them. Every single one of their wins, Dan, have been by multiple scores. They've actually are over in one score games this year, which is a complete 180 from where they were last season. And that's what makes them so scary is they're just dominating a lot of these teams. And these are good teams from last year that they are beating up right now. And, they're going to have a tough 3-game stretch coming up. They got Buffalo next week. They got a bye week. Then they get the Denver Broncos, and then they get the Indianapolis Colts. So the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been the cream of the crop of the AFC over the past few seasons, are going to have their hands full over these next few weeks. And it starts next week with Buffalo, who just lost probably their best defensive player in Ed Oliver. And then
yeah,
the Broncos, they lost Pat Surtain now to IR. So the Chiefs, who feel like are trending in the right direction, are just things are looking up for them right now. And I think the biggest thing heading into next week matchup against Buffalo is stopping James Cook. What are you looking at with Chiefs Bills next week, and probably what's going to be the most watched game of the year to this point?
yeah. Well, that's kind of crazy looking at the schedule. You got Buffalo, who just lost a big defender, and then you get a bye week, and then they play Denver, who just lost their tan. That's pretty
Yeah,
wild, man. How
they
that worked
they,
out.
they definitely got fortunate in that regard for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they were
definitely.
always going to be a little bit fortunate having that bye week versus the Broncos.
Mhm.
That's that they got lucky with that being their bye week game. Andy Reid's always been pretty historically good coming
Yeah,
off the
off the
bye.
bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but just to add on to it, I just their offense is elite right now. They found something after a couple weeks, and coming into this game, they scored. So now, including this Monday night game, they put up 28 points in 5 straight games, and then Mahomes has thrown for 3+ touchdowns in 4 of his last 5. So you can tell the offense is finally clicking, and they're going into Buffalo red hot, and I think this is a game that they will be like, they will have to, but I think they will be, like, coming out right out of the chute, like, not like tonight. It felt like they
Yeah.
needed to wake up after a slow first half, so I expect a different team. I expect them to play a full 60 minutes next week. That's what I
Yeah, it's a
expect.
short week for them, and we saw this against the Detroit Lions. Is when this Chiefs team has a short week, it almost feels like their preparation is even better than it does
Yeah.
on a normal week. And they saw that against the Lions, and they had a great game. What are your thoughts, I guess, on the matchup with Buffalo? What are you looking at as the keys? I know we haven't really done much research, but what do you think the
Yeah.
X factors are for both teams heading into that matchup?
Yeah, well, it's for the Chiefs defense, they gotta stop James Cook because that's kind of the recipe to beat the Bills is you gotta stop him. You gotta limit him because if he gets running in wild, it's just harder to defend that Bills offense. So that's my
Yeah.
key is you gotta limit James Cook, figure out where he is. He lines up all over the formation. So that's like the big X factor. Where is he on every play? And then for Buffalo, just I don't know. It's gonna be like you gotta keep up with the Chiefs because they're gonna put up 28 points. So you somehow like you're gonna have to go for it on fourth down. Make sure you have those plays ready. Fourth and under, like I say, like 4th and 5 plays. Have 4th and 5 and under. Have those ready because you're gonna have to keep up with this team. So Josh Allen's gonna have to bring his A game as well. Play some turnover free football because I don't think that defense is gonna be able to stop this team. So just buckle up, and it's gonna be a shootout next week. That's my initial reaction.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. What's interesting is the Chiefs are actually one and um yeah, they're 1-2 on the road this year. So they haven't necessarily been as good on the road as every team is, and they're in Buffalo. So that could be a slight
Yeah,
advantage for the Bills. But the opening spread, I want to make sure I have this right while I'm talking about this. But the biggest thing is Buffalo has so many key injuries on that defensive side of the ball. They're gonna have some guys step up for them heading into this next week. And it's gonna be about letting the Kansas City Chiefs be able to run the football, right? If they say, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes, we're going to drop 9 in coverage. You're going to have to beat us with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt." That's what I think their best game plan is in order to stop the Chiefs. They don't match up well against the Chiefs passing game this year, and I think that
yeah,
having the run and just had the Chiefs try to sustain drives because Andy Reid is basically well known for he's going to give Mahomes his 35 plus attempts a game. Like it's going to happen. So let the Chiefs beat themselves. And then on the Buffalo side of things, like if James Cook can't get going, like this passing game has not been very impressive. I know Josh Allen's box score looked a little better at the end of the Panthers game after a few big plays, but he was struggling throughout a majority of that game. And it feels like they're faltering right now in their pass game. So with the Chiefs, it's going to be about getting pressure on Josh Allen, and that'll be a big difference in it. The current spread is plus 1.5 for Buffalo at home. So basically, it's a pick 'em game right now. Um, on both sides of
okay.
it. It'll be interesting to see where the bet shift. Currently, the public is 56% on the Bills to open. We'll see what the line shifts to
Wow.
after the Chiefs win this week. I am surprised that is actually a 1.5 spread for Buffalo at home plus 1.5. So we'll flip
What do
sides
you
now.
think it should be? What do you think it
I
should
think
be?
it should probably be like a plus 3.5 spread. You have a plus 2.5
Yeah.
home boost. I think the Chiefs are coming in with a good matchup against Buffalo. I think they
Mhm.
should be more than a pick 'em in this one.
I got you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think the Chiefs are the better team by far. It's just Josh Allen
It's
is
Josh Allen and
special
Patrick
too.
Mahomes. They're always gonna be a great
Yeah,
matchup. They're always gonna be in a one-score game. Like, it's always
yeah,
gonna be
that's
a
it.
good game between them. And obviously, I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Bills have the Chiefs number in the regular season." I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
if I'm
different.
willing to it's just different.
Yeah,
Like, it's just different. All right, let's get on the
yeah.
Commanders side of things. Obviously, Washington now has dropped a few games in a row after beating the Chargers in Week 5. They get the Seahawks next week on Sunday Night Football. Jaden Daniels is hopefully back for that one. Then they get the Lions before they play the Dolphins. Dan, they could be looking at a 3-7 start to the season. What are your thoughts on this team and if they are done this year?
Yeah, that's a tough stretch. Tough 3 week stretch there. Those are two elite teams, and then you got Miami, and that game's overseas. That's in Madrid, so you never know what's going to happen with that game. But I just think they're just losing too many bodies right now. They came into this game, they were down three defensive linemen. Also, Kinlaw got injured as well. So Dan Quinn really relies on those defensive linemen in that scheme. So they can't continue to lose bodies up front. Also, they lost Tunzel. He didn't return. I don't know exactly what his injury was,
He had
but
a
he was
hamstring.
out the whole. Okay, yeah, that's a big loss. They're paying him a lot of money. They traded for him this offseason. Yeah, they need him as well. So I just think that they're losing way too many bodies, and yeah, without Jaden, they're not gonna be that good of a team, man. Once these teams figure out Mariota's offense, the hurry up, the RPOs, it's gonna be tough for them. So yeah, I don't. They're not gonna win the next 2 games. I know that for sure, and it's tough. Yeah. So what's the record gonna be after those 2 games? What are they at
I
right
think
now?
it'll be at 3-7.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not looking good. So, and especially with Terry McLaurin too. Something happened with him. He
I
didn't.
think they
He
just
wasn't
pulled
out
him
there.
because they were down by 3 scores, and it was more of a conservative type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it just the thing. Okay, without injury wise, real quick, the thing I am concerned about their offense is their running game. Like that's ever since week 5, they gashed the Chargers, and I was like, wow, they found something. They can't run the football anymore, and they played some soft teams against the run, so that's pretty frustrating for Washington fans. Like what happened to the run game? It's gone missing, and without that, that offense isn't going to work.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be interesting to see. Like besides those Lions and Seahawks games, they still have the Broncos on that schedule. They got
Oh,
the Giants who have played the teams tough. They have the Eagles twice still, and they have the Cowboys who they lost to as well. Like they have a gauntlet to close the season, and it is not looking bright for this Commanders team. And I actually thought this is probably the healthiest version of the offense we've gotten for them in quite some time this week with getting Debo and Terry McLaurin back. And they had more options at their disposal, but obviously with Mariota, you're a little bit more limited than you are with Jaden Daniels. So I think the offense will be able to keep them in some games, but I mean, this defense, man, they are
yeah,
incredibly inconsistent. And, in the first half, it felt like we were watching them at their peak. They were playing with a team that was much more talented than them when they were creating turnovers. But when they're not creating those turnovers, they're not getting the pass rush, man. This defense is not athletic enough to keep up with these great offenses that they're going to be facing. So the Commanders definitely have their work cut out for them. And it really feels like it's a stretch that they're going to be making the playoffs. And they're going to be a team that's probably going to be picking in the upper half of the draft next year. I probably see them sitting around 6 or 7 wins this year. So we'll uh we'll see what happens with the Commanders heading into the offseason. Any final comments, Dan, for this Monday night show on either of these teams?
oh no, for no, not no. Just I got like in general, I think it was a good weekend for tight ends. Like I said earlier, shout out to the sports equinauts. I wanted to mention that on our podcast. I thought that's pretty cool. All these sports going on. It's a good time to be a sports fan. So I'm having a
It
lot of
is.
fun, and we're gonna keep this thing rolling here. Week 9 coming your way.
100%. You guys got to be watching the World Series too. Shohei Ohtani is doing something that we have never seen in our lives. Even if you're not a baseball guy, watch Shohei Ohtani play. He's literally probably the greatest athlete we'll ever watch in our lifetime. And we still
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. So it's like, all
Ah,
right. Well, hey,
dude.
listen, drop a comment down below what your thoughts were from the Monday night game between the Commanders and the Kansas City Chiefs. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content. And me and Dan will catch you guys next time.